I want to ask about the $224 million to provide storage for 100,000 homes, and this comes back to renewables are cheaper. Given that there's 10 million homes in Australia, that would work out at $22.4 billion to have backup community batteries for all 10 million homes. I don't really consider that very cheap, do you?
So, Senator, I don't think the government has a policy to provide community batteries to 10 million homes, but I'll ask...
Well, OK, I'll rephrase that. You've got a policy to spend $224 million to provide power for 100,000 homes. That isn't going to be much of a blip in the energy grid. So do you think the $224 million, that's spent on community batteries is actually worthwhile and an effective spend of taxpayers' money?
So, Senator, I'll ask Mr White to give you the details, but that particular project is aimed specifically at parts of the electricity system that do not have the opportunity to connect in to the main parts of the grid. So it provides a storage capacity and a firming capacity that might not otherwise be available. So in a sense, we need to ensure that we are comparing alternative options for a similar part of the energy system.
I thought one of these batteries was going to go in near the Gap in Brisbane. I'll stand to be corrected. Where exactly are these batteries going then?
So Mr White will be able to provide.
I thought some of these things were going in suburbia where there's already an energy grid.
Yeah. Oh, aren't there two planned? One in Waverley Council area and one in North Sydney Council area? Yeah, because they're being objected to.
Right, because that's hardly in the outback.
James White, Branch Head, Renewables and Distributed Energy. I think possibly some of the confusion coming through here is that the program is for 400 batteries in total, sure, but the ones that are nominated relate to 58 specified batteries. There are 342 batteries that are going to be rolled out through the ARENA component of the program, and those do not have specified locations.
So where will you put them? Because I'm hearing that they've been North Sydney, Waverley, the Gap.
When the government announced the program, it specified two components of the program. So there are two streams of the program that are being run through the Business Grants Hub. One for 56 batteries with specified locations, and one for 2 batteries with specified locations and proponents. The total program is 400 batteries, and ARENA is responsible for the other 342. So ARENA has opened its expressions of interest process for the first 2 streams of its element of the program. So ARENA has been appropriated $171 million in funding for the program. It's opened EOIs for a DNSP-led, a distribution network service provider-led stream, and a non-distribution network service provider stream. And the total value of those streams is $120 million. After the end of the expression of interest process, which closes on the 30th of June, full applications will be able to be made to ARENA.
OK, so that doesn't sound very cheap. How long will these batteries last for you, assuming an average rate of consumption for the household? I've asked this question before when you took it on notice last time, but you didn't actually answer my question on notice.
Senator, last time I recall saying that the Australian Energy Regulator had made a ring-fencing determination that would extend through to 2041, which enabled an up to 15-year lifespan for the operation of the battery.
Sorry, I'll rephrase that question, my fault. Once fully charged, how long will the batteries run for, assuming an average rate of consumption?
So, I'm sorry, Senator, I don't have the average rate of consumption figure in my head, but the...
Well, if you're going to cost it, surely you'd use some assumptions. So I would have thought you'd have some assumptions how long this battery intends to work for on an average rate of consumption. Otherwise, how do we know they're going to be effective?
Senator, as I was saying, I don't have those numbers in my head. The batteries are between 100 kilowatt hours and 500 kilowatt hours in terms of what we were supporting under the Business Grants Hub component of the program. ARENA has different specifications. There's also no obligation for someone to have a battery that's specifically the size supported by the grants. They can introduce a co-funding component, in which case the battery will be of a different size.
So you can't say for certain how long these batteries will run for for fully charged to discharge?
So
and how many houses?
There's a simple calculation in the sense of batteries have a power rating and an energy storage rating. So if you have a 250 kilowatt battery with 500 kilowatt hours of storage at full tilt, it can run for 2 hours. But I can't tell you specifically what any one of the individual batteries in the program is going to run for.
Right, okay, so will they run for, so you can't say they're going to run for 1 hour or 8 hours? Because that's obviously going to depend on, you know, if you've only got a battery that only lasts for 2 hours and it's a cloudy day, then you're obviously going to need sources, you know, the solar panels that charge these batteries up. You're going to need backup energy, aren't you? I mean, you've got to have contingency measures in place if you don't know how long the battery is going to last for, don't you?
So if I'm hearing the question correctly, Senator, I think there's an embedded assumption in there that the battery is the only thing that can support a network if it's cloudy. But that
well no,
will not be the
because
case.
if you're close to the grid, you don't need the battery. Then that's my point. I mean, you know, I think Mr Duggan just suggested that these batteries weren't necessarily going to go anywhere near the grid was. So you can't have it both ways. If it's close to the grid, then you don't need the battery. If it's not close to the grid, you need to know how much backup you've got. I just want some straight answers.
Yeah, can I just correct my evidence there, Senator, take the opportunity to say community batteries are medium-sized grid-connected batteries.
What's that, sorry?
So community batteries, correcting my earlier evidence, community batteries are medium-sized grid-connected batteries, so they are connected to the grid.
So they are connected to the grid.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's all very, very confusing. But we'll ask, how long do these batteries have their warranty for in terms of years, not in terms of usage? Have these batteries got a warranty?
The batteries will come with a warranty, Senator, and the warranty will depend on the battery manufacturer.
And do you know what that is?
I do not know what that is, Senator.
Can you take that on notice, please?
I can definitely take that on notice.
Within this session, if you don't mind, because I would have thought that it's something you'd also take into account if you're going to cost the actual, you know, cost of these things.
I'll take it on notice, Senator.
Yep, sure. Okay.
Authorised G. Rennick, LNP Chermside.